How we doing, people? Well, we can have another quick update already, as I promised on the last video, because I had some phone calls and these videos will go on for hours and hours and hours if I don't put out parts and bits and pieces. So I've merged all these phone calls together. You'll obviously get the gist of what they are and when they've been said. But that being said, I've also, and I appreciate the views on the last video because we're well over 12,000 views on that video, and that's quite impressive. And there's a lot of thumbs up and a lot of good comments. However, I've had an email from YouTube. It's had a privacy complaint. Now, that can only be from one of the police officers or the police, which obviously leads us all to believe, or it doesn't take clues. So as I said before, to work out that is obviously being watched by the police, and the police have made this privacy complaint. What level of privacy they expect in a public place, I'm not quite sure. So that's not going to go anywhere. I will also tell you, because I sort of suspected that they would play silly games with me, is I've contacted local newspapers and Sky News and offered them the video. Now, I've done that because, if you all remember rightly, with the cocky smug fucker on the bus in Birmingham driving around fucking pointing his camera at people and giving people tickets while they were sitting in the traffic or sitting at red lights, and he was issuing 6 points and £200 fines to them, and it was all a big fucking hurrah at the time, and everybody was over the moon about this information, and these coppers were like, yeah, we're catching them, yeah, 6 points for this, we're driving around on buses, we're using all this new technology to catch all these fucking mobile phone abusers and everything on the road. Well, unluckily for you, I've caught you fuckers now, and you'll hear by the phone calls from their superior at the end just how far they are willing to go to justify it. Now, I would have just let it crack on, but you're kind of putting me in a position where you're making it a challenge to me. And if you're going to challenge me, then I'm going to take you on every time. Because I just can't back down from a challenge. I can't, I'm sorry. And if it's going to come to the point where the police are now going to try to play silly little underhanded games like contacting YouTube to get perfectly legal videos taken down, where they're going to try and justify the actions of the police when they break the law for no reason. It's very clear this copper, he wasn't on a shout. This wasn't an emergency phone call, and even had it been an emergency phone call, then his colleague was sat in the passenger seat. I'm sure he's privy to the same information as the driver was. He could have took the phone call. They also have radios. They could have took information over the radio. Failing all of the obvious, they could have pulled over 5 feet in front of the car that was parked and pulled up on the path there and been much safer parked. Or, failing that even, driven 100 yards further up the road and pulled into the petrol station fucking forecourt. So, I can't see, personally, how you could possibly fucking justify your actions. And not only that, you clearly wasn't in that much of a rush, and it clearly wasn't that much of an emergency, that phone call, because you had the time to talk to me, try and tell me that you were giving me words of advice and how I was endangering myself on the road, bearing in mind I'm a pedestrian and I have the right of way on the road. You had the time to then drive up the road, pulling out into traffic without looking, I might add, because the car behind you had to slam the brakes on, driving without due care and attention, but we won't go into that one just yet. And then pull up at the forecourt and then stand there for what was probably 10 minutes, rambling on absolute nonsense, trying to convince, I don't know who you was trying to convince, that what you was doing was fully justified and you was in no way breaking the law. Now, I don't know how you're going to justify this. I don't know how your superiors are going to justify it. And that's probably why you've attempted to try and get the video taken down. And I will also say that I know, because one of my followers has also pointed out to me, that the video has been shared elsewhere as well. So the video's out there now. You're not chasing this video down. No way. And I'll save this video in a few different separate places. So you'll never get this video, and I'll just keep republishing it. It doesn't matter to me. I'll give this video away for free. It's on TikTok. It's on everywhere. So there's no way you're getting away with it. And you should have thought about that, shouldn't you, really, before you broke the law. Because I haven't even got time on this video, sadly, to go through the long list of underhanded attempts that the local police forces have made to stick the fucking knife in my back. And if I had the time on this video to do it, I could give you a great big long list of really underhanded, dirty fucking things that you bastards have done to me. Now, you always get the same thing with the call. Well, it wasn't me, was it? Well, it wasn't me, was it? Well, no, it wasn't you personally. However, when it comes to it, and you know as well as I do, you always try and pull the same thing, you coppers. You always say, "Oh, well, it wasn't me." But then when it suits, you're like the biggest gang in the country. You're all for one and one for all. Do you know what I mean? You'll all stick up for each other and all the rest of it. You're all there to support each other. And you make that very well known when it comes to, certain situations. So, as far as I'm concerned, if one of your colleagues has tried to stitch me, then you've tried to stitch me. It is that simple. You are going to be tarred, rightly or wrongly, with the same brush as every other fucker in this country that wears that uniform. And that's just that simple. So, when I broke the law, or you've accused me of breaking the law, you've done your fucking utmost to come after me and chuck the book at me. Now, as I said at the beginning of the video, I would have just published this and had the shits and giggles from it. But it seems now you want to attack me and you want to make this a challenge to me to push this as far as I can. That's what you're going to get. And I'm not going to back down. It's just not going to happen. You're going to have some pretty good incentives to get me off this one, I'm afraid. I'm going to be like a dog with a fucking bone now. So these are the calls. Listen to the calls. You'll hear my reports. You'll hear them calling me back, and finally you'll hear their superior at the end, and his blatant justifications. And it's just, you can tell by the tone of the man's voice exactly what his opinion of this is and exactly where he intends this to go, and professional standards intend to push it, because we all know how fucking corrupt professional standards are. We're not police officers, we're independent of the police. No, you're fucking not. You're coppers investigating coppers. It's that fucking simple, alright? It's like Jimmy Savile wouldn't have reported Rob Harris, would he? So you ain't going to report your own. And that's just fact. That's just how you people work. And we all come to understand that now, which is, why you get the public shaming. This is sort of the square of the medieval times now, YouTube. This is where you come to get publicly shamed for your fucking stupidity. Just for shits and giggles of people like myself, who you consider scum because we don't like the police. So therefore we're some sort of fucking anti-authoritarian, fucking undereducated fucking idiots. But as I've said before, I'm happy to debate any copper you want to stand in front of me, and I don't think you're going to stand up to much. But I'm willing to give you a crack. Anyway, watch the video. It's going to get too long. Then, obviously, I'll update you when more shit comes in, but I have to sort of do it as it comes now. Otherwise, we'll be here forever and a day. Subscribe. And wait for the next one. See you soon, guys.
Good afternoon, Surrey Police. How can I help?
Hi, I've got a question regarding the legal matter. I just wondered if you could help me, or have someone that could help me.
Maybe, I'll try. What's the question?
Regarding being on your mobile phone whilst in a vehicle.
Yeah.
Is it legal to be on your mobile phone whilst in a vehicle that's running on a live carriageway, providing that you're stopped with your handbrake on?
A good question. I want to say no,
because
you're not driving.
That's the problem I'm having. Is the definition whilst moving, or does it cover you all the time you're in control of the vehicle?
So while parked with the engine running, yeah?
Yeah, parked, engine running, on a live carriageway as well, or parked at the side of the road. Well, not on the side of the road, but it's half on the lane, in fact.
Right, I've just had a look. So you're not allowed to use a mobile phone or tablet while behind the vehicle, even if you're stopped at traffic lights or queuing in traffic. The only time you can use it is when your car is parked and the engine is off.
Ah, brilliant.
There you go.
That's excellent. That leads me nicely onto the fact then that I've just stopped 2 of your police officers.
Ah, okay, if it's police officers, then I know it sounds a bit cheeky, but they're kind of exempt because they have to use their phones in order to get updates on what crimes are happening and that sort of
They're only allowed to use their phone in case of an emergency. Your officers was parked at the side of the road, blocking a live carriageway, had no seat belts on, was also on the mobile phone, causing a dangerous obstruction to a very busy road. When there was a petrol station forecourt no more than 30 feet away from him.
So were they actually talking on the phone then?
He's on the phone. I've got him on video talking on the phone, and his colleague. I've got his colleague on video telling me categorically that I could park at a red light and sit there on my mobile phone, and that would be perfectly legal. When you've just quite nicely clarified for me that is in fact against the law.
Yeah. Bit strange. Let me have a little look. Let's double check that in case I give the wrong thing, but it seems to be the way it is. Bear with me, I'm just going to double check that.
In reality, there's quite a list of crimes committed there by your officers. Not only was he parked blocking, he was actually parked on top of a cycle lane and half into the carriageway, with no more than an indicator on, causing vehicles to have to cross the central line of the road to overtake them. So the definition of driving without due care and attention states that if you make another vehicle slow down, then you are in fact driving without due care. So your officers were not only dangerously obstructing a carriageway, they were driving without due care. He was also on the mobile phone, and neither had their seatbelts on.
That does seem a bit odd. Which road was this? I'll make a report for it and I'll get on.
I didn't catch the name of the road. I can check that out for you at some point. What I can give you is a registration of their vehicle.
Yep.
If you bear with me 1 second. Apparently I can't do that while I've got you. I think it was OU18, but it's not allowing me to look at a video whilst I've got you on the phone for some reason.
So they were parked in a live lane?
They were parked. They were double parked along a row of parked cars that were in their bays. They were double parked against those, on top of a cycle lane and half into the carriageway.
Half into the carriageway.
In a large 4x4 vehicle. I believe it was one of your Audi Q7s or something similar. They were armed officers.
Right, okay, so armed officers, and they were on the phones with no seatbelts, yeah?
No seatbelts. He was on the phone whilst behind the wheel. The engine was running on the vehicle with no more than an indicator. Now, if the call was of an emergency, as I said, there was a petrol station forecourt no further than 30 feet away. He could have in fact pulled in front of the queue of traffic that he was parked next to, and he could have made himself a lot safer, and he didn't do that.
Yeah.
It's just not acceptable. It's just really not.
I know you don't know what road it is, but do you know what town it was in?
Well, I was on the way back from Staines, so I believe it was. I don't know the name of the road. I know it's got the Rolls Royce garage on it, but that probably doesn't have much help to you.
Not really. Rolls Royce garage near Staines.
Yeah, it was on the way back because I was on the way back from Staines, going back to Farnborough. There's a Rolls Royce garage.
Towards Farnborough. Can I just take a name for yourself? That's all right.
My name's Jamie. There was a train station there as well. Train station.
Do you know if it was Staines Station?
No, I don't believe it. No, it was further out than Staines. It was in between Staines and Farnborough. It was.
Right. Farnborough, no worries. What's your surname? Sorry, Jamie.
May, M-A-Y.
Thank you. And can I just take a phone number? Sort of, not a phone number. Address for you because I've got your number here.
Yeah, the one that you've got there.
An address for yourself?
Sorry?
Can I have an address at all?
No, I'll leave that for now, that's okay. They've got my
No
address
worries.
details anyway, if they need them.
And do you have an email at all in case we need to
No, not one I
email you
use.
back? No worries. Is there any way you can try and find out that registration? And then we'll try and figure out which officers it was.
Could you, if you literally give me... the thing is, I need to put the phone down to get it for you.
I can call you back. I mean, how long do you want me to give you?
Literally a minute.
Yeah, that's alright then. I've got a number for you ending 090.
Yep.
So I'll just call you back in sort of a couple of minutes.
Yep, give me 1 minute and then I'll have the registration for you. Hello?
Hello, sorry please, is that Jamie?
Speaking.
Hello, did you manage to get the registration for the vehicle there?
I did indeed. And it is... I've saved it here somewhere.
Oh, hello?
Hello?
Hello, sorry, can you hear me there?
Yeah, I know, I've saved it here for you. It's Oscar Uniform 18.
Yep.
Bravo Foxtrot Echo.
And it's a 4x4 you said, yeah?
Sorry?
You said it was a 4x4 vehicle?
Yeah, it was a BMW X5 by the looks of it.
And do you know that the Surrey officers or was it Hampshire officers?
I believe they were sorry, but just on the location. However, I could well be wrong. They refused to identify themselves to me. Refused their badge numbers.
Right. So refused to identify themselves, and you think you've got them on video, yeah?
I've got them on video, not only obstructing the lane, but being on the phone, not wearing seat belts, and then refusing to tell me what their numbers are. So quite a few offences, and trying to weasel the way out of it by using some sort of justification that they were there on some sort of call. However, I did ask him if the call was an emergency, which his response to me was, "That's none of your business."
Right, okay.
So, and unless he had his blue lights on, you can't really claim it as an emergency, can you? It doesn't seem to me that it couldn't have been anything that couldn't have been held for the extra 20 foot of road.
It could be an emergency. I mean, I can't really say.
Oh no, it could be. Of course it could.
Situation.
But he didn't leave this. He had time. If it was an emergency, then he wouldn't have had time to drive down to the petrol station after I stopped him and stand there and have a conversation with me for the next 10 minutes.
The one with the phone, is he driving?
Yeah, he was driving. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you want to treat this as an official complaint then, and get someone to give you a call back?
Yeah, I'd love to hear from their sergeant, to be honest, because I've just had a police officer. Must be a senior police officer, being that he's a firearms officer, trying to convince me that sitting at a red light whilst on the phone is perfectly legal, and that's not really acceptable advice from a police officer.
No, it does seem to be incorrect based on what I've had a look at.
Absolutely.
It's a bit odd. Let me give you a reference, Jamie. Do you have a pen to write it down with?
Yep, no, sure, you can go ahead. Calls are recorded.
Yep, so it's P for Papa.
Yep.
20
Yep.
007
Yep.
467.
Brilliant.
Alright, so I'll get this passed to our inspector and I'll get them to give you a call back once they've found out what's gone on with it, alright?
Excellent. Do you know roughly how long that would take for a guy to call me back, or is there a time
turnaround
frame?
is 24 hours.
Sure.
But it might be a bit sooner than that. So
Yeah, be nice
keep an eye out.
to catch their guy while they're on shift, if they still are still on shift.
No worries. They'll look at it as soon as they can and then they'll give you a call back, alright?
Sure, no problem at all. Thanks for your time.
Right.
Bye bye.
No problem. Today.
1 second. Oh yeah, I phoned up Surrey Police 2 days ago regards 2 of your officers. Well, they were... I don't even know where to start, to be honest. They were blocking a cycle lane. They were obstructing traffic of a live carriageway. The driver was on the mobile phone. Neither of them were wearing seat belts. And they pulled off, causing traffic to slow down to stop a collision, which again is driving without due care and attention.
So you wanted to make a complaint?
Well, yeah, I wanted to report them. I expected them to get 6 points and a £200 fine, same as anybody else would.
Okay, we can run for a complaint if you let me just do this for you.
One of his sergeant or somebody's supposed to have called me back. They haven't bothered us yet.
What, from Surrey Police?
Well, he's a Thames Valley officer. I phoned Surrey Police and made the complaint to Surrey Police, and they passed it on to Thames Valley because the 2 officers apparently Thames Valley Police. I had a call back to say they were Thames Valley and that it had been passed on, and I've not heard anything since.
Well, we can run through a report here, so it goes straight to a supervisory officer for you. So 2 officers were blocking a cycle lane and obstructing traffic on a live lane. How were they doing that? Were they stopped in the road?
Yeah, they pulled over. They were double parked in the road with just the indicator on.
Were they pulled over with another car or for a reason?
No reason. No, there was no reason for them to be there. They hadn't stopped anybody. They wasn't in doing their job in any way. They were just stopped and on the phone. I asked him if the call was an emergency. He told me it's none of my business. However, it clearly is. And not only that, he had his colleague in the vehicle with him to take any calls, and they were no more than 100 feet away from a petrol station forecourt. So there was absolutely no excuse for him to be on the mobile phone. It wasn't an emergency. And the law applies to him as it does everybody else.
Okay, can I take your name?
Jamie May.
How do I say your last name, Jamie?
M-A-Y.
And your date of birth?
26/11/82.
And your postcode and house number?
I don't give the details out.
Pardon?
I will leave those details. Those are
It's just so I can fill out the call so I can get it sent over.
That's okay, we'll leave the address blank. They don't need that. They've got a contact number for me.
Let me...
Obviously, there are no special measures for police to be on the phone whilst driving or in control of a vehicle anyway. Are there not?
I've just set up the log up for you, Jamie, okay?
Sure.
Did you get a registration of the vehicle that you saw?
I did indeed. Let me just get it up.
And when did you see it?
When?
Yeah.
Friday. Registration is Oscar Uniform 18.
Yep.
Bravo Foxtrot Echo.
Friday. Was that Friday the 10th?
Yes.
Perfect. Do you know roughly what time?
What time was it, Sam? It was busy traffic, so it was around 4:30. Because the traffic was having to cross the central line into the oncoming traffic to go round these officers where they'd obstructed the road.
So 2 officers in 1 police vehicle?
Correct. You might just want to add as well that I actually have all of this on video. And their attempt at making excuses to why they were doing what they were doing. But in fact, actually the officer told me that being on the phone, parked at the side of a live carriageway with the keys in the ignition, etc., wasn't actually breaking the law, and you're allowed to do that. So
the keys were in the ignition?
Keys were in the ignition, vehicle was running while he was on the phone, both sat there with no seatbelts on. Driver on the phone, blocking the cycle lane, which is an offence in itself, causing vehicles to slow down, which is again another offence. It could be done for driving without due care, dangerously obstructing a carriageway. Oh, it's ridiculous. Had this been any member of the public and the police had pulled up to see somebody doing this, they'd be throwing the book at them.
Whereabouts this happened?
Do you know, I don't know the name of the road. I don't know the name of the road because I'm not from the area. I believe when Surrey Police checked, because they checked the registration, I believe they'd already found out who the officers were and where this had taken place. So, because I remember she did say the name of the road on the previous phone call. So they must have already checked that.
So 2 officers in a police vehicle had pulled over the side of the road and were blocking a cycle lane and also obstructing a live lane.
Yep.
You said the keys were in the ignition and both officers didn't have a seatbelt on and the driver was on the phone as well.
Yep.
Perfect. What I'll do for you,
Clearly
Jamie,
wasn't an emergency call because he had time to leave from there, drive down the road to the petrol station, and try and make excuses to me as to why he wasn't breaking the law. So it clearly wasn't a call out or an emergency.
So obviously, I can't confirm that. I don't know exactly what the phone call was about.
No, it's not relevant.
What I can do is I can send this to a supervisory officer and get somebody to try and make contact with you as soon as they can on the number that you called in on ending in 090.
That's the one.
Perfect. What I'll do is I'll send that over now for you, Jamie, so hopefully somebody will give you a call soon.
Brilliant. Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Take
Bye-bye.
care.
Hello.
Hello, is that Jamie?
Speaking.
Hi, Jamie, it's Tegan calling back from Thames Valley Police.
Oh, yeah.
Hello, it's just in regards to the registration you gave me for the vehicle.
Yes.
And I wanted to confirm it with you again. So was it Oscar Yankee 18 Bravo Foxtrot Echo?
No, 1 second. Was... Oscar Uniform 18.
There we go.
Bravo Foxtrot Echo. I've got one of the police officers' badge numbers is 5113. That was the passenger.
5113. Did you get the officer's badge number for the driver?
I could get it, but I haven't got it to hand. As I say, the whole incident was on video. They did refuse to identify themselves to me when they were asked. But as I said, I've got it all on video. So
did they give you their badge numbers?
No, they refused to.
Okay, what I'll do is I'll put this all into a log and I'm going to send it over to the supervisory officer for you, okay?
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
No problem.
There we go. Sorry about that. Yes, it
That's
is.
quite alright. Is that Mr. May?
Speaking.
Hello there, it's Inspector Chris Jones here from Tactical Firearms in Thames Valley Police. How are you?
Not too bad.
The reason I'm giving you a call, so I am one of the inspectors in charge of the Tactical Firearms Department within TVP. I received an email last Friday, but I was off and I picked it up yesterday, and I've just been forwarded by our control room a complaint that you've made against two, what I believe are ARB officers within TVP.
Yes.
All I wanted to inform you of is that I've already spoken to our professional standards department this morning. They are formally recording your complaint. It's going to be assessed. They will be in contact with you, and then once they've made an assessment on how the complaint is going to be dealt with, they'll write to you very shortly and then allocate it to probably either me or one of the other firearms inspectors to look into for you, and we'll be in touch.
Well, there is the complaint side of things is one thing, but the fact is they've broken the law. So surely they're prosecutable the same as anybody else. Any member of the public would be.
Well, it all depends on the circumstances on which they're in on their mobile phones. So that will be looked into as part of the complaint that you have made. Once your complaint has been formally recorded, what happens is it'll be what's called severity assessed by professional standards. They will look at how it needs to be investigated, whether it's suitable for a local investigation or a local resolution. And then once they've done that, they will then pass it to an inspector, i.e. me or one of the other firearms inspectors, to look into, and we will look into whether they were justified in being on their phones, where they were. And
so one way or another, they'll justify that they were illegally parked, obstructing a carriageway, on the phone, no seat belts and all the rest of it. They'll obviously try and find some way of justifying that now, will they?
Well, that's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is, once professional standards have assessed your complaint, as part of that process, one of the things I probably, if it does come to me, will do is speak to the officers to find out why they were in that situation, why they were on their phones and what they were doing. But until it comes through to me, I'm not in a position to do that.
Right, well, if they're not going to shout and they haven't got their blue lights on, etc., and it's not a 999 call, then there is no reason to be on the phone, is there? And in control of a vehicle.
That's not necessarily the case, no. So just because they don't have the blue lights on, it doesn't mean they weren't conducting police business. But again, I don't want to make any assumptions about what they were doing until I spoke with the officers.
Well, I will make you aware, and I'll make you aware that all my calls are recorded as well.
Absolutely, no problem.
Everything was filmed, and it's already been publicised. Because it'll be washed over by yourself and your professional standards team, as we all well know. So I just wanted to make you aware that it's already been made very public, because they're not going to be treated the same as everybody else.
Well, the police are subject to the same laws as everyone else, so they will be.
Then I'd like to make. Then I would expect him to be getting 6 points for being on the phone and a £200 fine at least.
Okay, well, that's something that will be looked into when the complaint is investigated.
Okay. How long does that process usually take?
It depends on what sort of investigation professional standards say that has to happen. So I can't tell you that. I wouldn't want to give you unrealistic expectations at all. So I don't know is the honest answer.
Okay. Okay. I'll wait to hear from you.
All right.
Thank you. Bye bye.